Hi Scorpio, welcome to your August 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you who'd like to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel, just check out the description of the video and I have all the information for you there. Alright, and for those of you used to my general readings, you may notice that there's different tarot cards on the table and also a different spread altogether, so let me cover that real quick. On the left side, we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on the right side, we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. And this is a spread that I do called the Bridging the Gap spread. So the way it works is the cards on this side would represent your energy towards the connection with your main love interest. These cards would represent their energy toward the connection. And these are the past energies, present energies, future energies. And also, once we get to the main spread, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to help tie everything together. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's get into your main spread. Starting with the past energy on your side, we have the Four of Staves. So this is actually the equivalent of the Four of Wands in a regular tarot, but what was interesting to me about this is it actually came out sideways, basically, and I took that as a sign. So the primary thing that I picked up from that, well, with this in the upright, this would mean, building something stable and, something that you're excited about, taking action toward it. It's an Aries energy. It's the last 10 degrees of Aries. So for some of you, there might have been some issues around this connection starting around that time, like let's say the middle of April. Or, this could just be saying that for some of you, you were on the fence about whether you could see something stable with this person. Maybe for whatever reason, you used to just go back and forth. Like one day you think, yeah, I could totally build something stable with this person. The next, maybe you didn't think you could. And then this could just represent that there's two different groups of you. Could just be saying some of you in the past were trying to build something with this person. Others of you might have decided to just leave it all together. But I'm primarily picking up on this was, a bit of an on the fence energy more than anything. So hopefully that resonates with you guys. Past energy on their side is the Knight of Swords. So, this technically is a court card for Gemini. So that can be who you're dealing with because there's a lot of Gemini energy in the spread actually. But really what I'm getting with this more than anything is you might have felt that maybe they were a bit too domineering for you. That's one way it could play out. I mean, normally you guys are into that, but, in the right context, right? So maybe that's just how you felt. That's just how they were. They might have tried to, you might have found them a bit overbearing in some way. Maybe that's the way it is. And then maybe you might have felt like the connection was a bit too public as well, because, we do see two people looking in on the connection there, or maybe you were worried about the way that people would perceive the connection. That's another way that could play out as well. But yeah, primarily that's what I'm picking up though, is that maybe they came on a bit too strong for you, or wanted to move a little bit too quickly. And then, you might have felt a bit pressured by it, right? And then maybe that's where the back and forth was going, as far as, 1 minute you felt like maybe you could be in a commitment with them, the next you weren't as sure. So that could have been what was going on there, just a clash of your two energies, basically. And the present energy on your side, we have the Ten of Coins. So this is the equivalent to the Ten of Pentacles. This is technically a Virgo energy, the last 10 degrees of Virgo. And this could just be saying that you're working towards something there, as far as, maybe you're building stability, and maybe you have a goal to get it, wrapped up by the time of Virgo, maybe even, let's say, mid-September, because that would be when we'd be in those particular degrees of Virgo. But more so than anything, with this particular 10 of coins as opposed to the one in the Rider-Waite, what stands out to me the most with this is that there's no actual people in the card as opposed to that one, right? So to me, it could just be saying that this is the vision you have for the connection now. Maybe for whatever reason your perception has changed and you're like, okay, I actually can see this being something stable. So your outlook has changed on it for whatever reason. And, or it could just be saying that you've shifted your focus to your finances as well, obviously. So it could play out either way there. But I'm thinking that this is more of a vision thing because that energy is actually double Mercury energy for me. So it could just be that that's what's on your mind, whether it's with that person or just trying to build your own financial security. Present energy on their side, we have the Ten of Swords. So this is another Gemini energy, the last 10 degrees of Gemini. So again, could definitely be dealing with a Gemini. But what I'm seeing here is if this is their energy, then, they might see that you've moved on with someone else. And maybe that's exactly what that is. For those of you who did leave the connection with them, maybe they see in the present that you've built something stable already with someone else. And maybe they're seeing that and realizing that it's over between the two of you, Or likewise, it could be them that's moved on and you're seeing that, because maybe now you have that 10 of coins vision in your mind for the connection, and now you're like, oh, maybe I waited too long, with the back and forth. Um, and I would say that it especially could be the case for those of you who resonated with last month's reading, because I think last month's theme was like the silent treatment for you guys. So, that maybe, and I think I had warned you guys that, if it's like a playing hard to get type thing you were doing, to be careful of taking it too far. So that would probably resonate more for those of you who resonated with that reading from last month. But for the rest of you, this could just be saying that this is how they're feeling, that, they see you building something stable and see someone else in the picture. The future energy on your side, if I could grab the card, is the Three of Coins. So this is actually a Capricorn energy. I view it as a mixture of Saturn energy, which is, it lends that stability, something that would be long lasting. And then that Venus energy gets thrown in the mix too, where it's, something that you're also pleased with aesthetically, you're like happy with the way it comes out, something that you're just happy with in general. But if you look at the artwork in this particular card, you see the one woman there and she looks not so happy. So another way this could be playing out is, again, pointing to the fact that now you're ready to build something stable, but, for those, and especially for those of you, like I said, where maybe you were doing a whole silent treatment with them last month because maybe you just weren't sure how you felt, even, and then, so maybe it wasn't as much as you were trying to play games, but really you were just in your head trying to figure out what you wanted to do. They might have taken it as flat out rejection, you know what I mean? And now they might be moving forward. And now you're like, okay, well, I'm ready to build something stable, but, right? Especially because Capricorn energy, we had an eclipse in those degrees of Capricorn as well. So that could definitely point to that because that's your third house of communication. And now it's saying that, you might have gone through that eclipse, which, I'm recording this about a week after that eclipse happened. So, you might have gone through that eclipse and realized that, oh, okay, I do want this with this person, but now you might just feel like maybe you waited too long, potentially. The bottom of the deck on your side, too, is the Ace of Coins. So you definitely have stability on the brain, I feel, for most of you. So, and again, it can be outright about just focused on your money, but I'm getting more of a feeling there where, you're really just focusing on building something stable, and looks like there's a disconnect there. The bottom of the deck on their side, to be fair, is the Five of Chalices, which is actually a Scorpio energy. So on the one hand, at the very least, I could say that you're on their mind. But if you think about the Five of Cups energy, it's like the three cups knocked over, then there's the two cups still behind them. So, they could just be in their head about it too. Especially, like I said, this could be some of them thinking that you moved on or, maybe really did. So might be salvageable. I don't know. We'll see what the oracle cards add to the mix. But in the outcome position on their side, we have the Lovers. So another Gemini energy. One way you could look at this is you could say that maybe this actually all was a growth cycle for them, as far as, maybe they came on too strong potentially and it might have, caused things to be a bit unstable between the two of you. They went through this Ten of Swords phase, and now, maybe they're coming out of that and maybe realizing, where they went wrong. That's one way it could play out because, I mean, this is the major arcana card for the lovers, whereas this is just the court card. So it does to me, at least, if you look at the progression there, going from the court card, having that Ten of Swords experience, which is about endings as well. So, and then coming out with the lovers as their final card in the future could just show that they went through some growth from this experience. So maybe that can still be helpful. But yeah, I mean, then if you look at the more obvious artwork here, there's actually a guy with two women. So as opposed to the Rider-Waite, where it's just a male and a female, and then it looks like an angel. And here we have Cupid in the background, and it looks like they're pointing the arrow towards the blonde person. So, I mean, if you do feel like if you see them around someone else now, and let's say, you're the brunette, and you see them with a blonde, it looks like that might be more the direction they would be choosing, or, of a way around, if you're worried that someone else will be in the picture and you're the blonde, then it looks like they might end up getting back with you anyway. At least that's the symbolism I see there with the artwork. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a confusing reading in a way, as it looks like there's such a mismatch of energies. Like trying to figure out, was it because you were going back and forth a little bit that caused them to think that things were over when really you were just thinking things over, or did it actually, did it actually end and now they're moving on and you're like, oh wait, I want to come back around, So we'll see if the oracle cards add any additional insight. First, we'll get the Mystic Moon Oracle deck, see if we get any additional messages there. And I did shuffle this deck before we start recording, but I do like to go through the main spread and then pull cards from this deck. And I like to use jumpers only, so I'll shuffle for a bit. If we get something, I'll take it. If not, I'll just say there's, nothing to get from there. We'll move on. But first, I'll be looking for unspoken messages from you toward them, and then from them toward you after that. So let's see if we get any unspoken messages from you toward them. Alright, doesn't feel like anything's coming up. I'll shuffle for a little bit more and see if I get anything. Like I've said in previous videos, with the generals, I don't like to pull from the top or, just grab a random card. I like jumpers, and if I don't get one, I just take that as a sign. Alright, so let's see if we get any unspoken messages from them toward you. Oh, actually, hold on, got something. Alright, I actually got 3 cards, so hold on. Put them down. Alright, let's see what we got here. We got, let me see if I can get them to focus. My mind and heart always comes back to you. I just have to do something else right now. Please try and understand. And the grass wasn't greener on the other side. Interesting. So I don't necessarily see them all playing together, but let's go through them one by one and see if they do all tie together. The first one we had was my mind and heart always comes back to you. So that makes me think primarily of the Ten of Swords energy, where, like I was saying, maybe they perceived that things were done between the two of you. Like I said, maybe they actually saw you move on with someone else, or maybe they just, since it is Swords energy and they're not looking at them in this particular shot, it could just be saying that this is in their mind that you moved on with someone else. Maybe that's why, they figured, oh, well, if Scorpio's not trying to get with me, then they must have moved on with someone else. You know what I mean? That could be the way that that's playing out. And I could also see that matching up with the Five of Cups energy. So, this definitely could represent that some kind of split happened between the two of you in the past. Now, the grass wasn't greener on the other side. That could be for those of you where it played out the other way, where maybe they actually moved on and the connection and it wasn't you. So, this was them that moved on, and maybe they're realizing that that person wasn't, what they wanted. And of course, with my mind and art always comes back to you, I could definitely see those two energies playing together. And then that could be going back to what I was saying with the Lovers card too. For those of you, like I said, however weird it sounds, if you guys are blonde, just because I see Cupid's arrow pointing toward more that person, and that could definitely be them saying, maybe they were with someone else, and now they're realizing that, they should have just stuck with you. I know you guys are. I don't know if that would go over too well with you guys, but just calling it like I see it. And then I just have to do something else right now. Please try and understand. That's a bit more interesting. What I think that could be pointing to, though, is what I was saying as far as the growth process. Whether this Ten of Swords is from you or just like an experience that they're going through, coming from that Knight of Swords energy and then progressing to the Lovers. Maybe this is just saying that they're going through some growth right now. And maybe that's where the separation is coming from. All right, hopefully that all resonated for you guys, or at least one of those cards. But yeah, last thing we'll do is we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And for those of you who watch my generals, this is one of the Oracle decks I use in that all the time, so you're probably used to this deck. But we'll just pull one card here, see if we get any additional insight into what's going on. Bit of an interesting spread. Like, it seems like in a way you guys both in the past were not on the same page at all. Now it seems like, I don't know. It's definitely a weird one. Hopefully it's making sense for you guys, though. I feel like for some of you, it definitely could be a continuation of that thing with the silent treatment from last month that I mentioned, and maybe that's what ended up throwing things a bit off the rail, because I did feel like I think I did give you guys that warning that I might have taken things too far. Now just, might have to be some work done to get things back on track, but we'll see what this Oracle deck has to say. Oh, got one. All right, we have breathe. Okay. Sorry, let me show you the artwork. All right, and the number is 29. Let me read the messages for that. Okay, it says patience, waiting, going slowly, wellness, meditation, trust. The Oracle's message. Patience in all things is called for right now. What do you need to do when you're in a rush? Slow down, of course. Meditate and trust. Breathe and repeat. Humans cannot exist without drawing breath. Now is the time to allow the life-giving element of air to replenish your body, your being, and your very essence. Stop to smell the roses, breathe in the sunlight, and release the darkness, and miracles will appear. All right, and then the relationship message says, don't be in too much of a hurry right now. The heart needs time to open. Take a breath and let nature take its course. Release constriction and anxiety, for there is no need for tension. Savor the moment, and the waiting won't prove difficult. Your heart knows what the ego often resists learning. Patience pays off in deep and meaningful ways. So, like I said, and I could definitely see that message playing out for those of you where you might feel like this is where that person's at right now, where they're like, I just have to do something else, please try and understand. Maybe it's just saying to try to be patient and let that whole thing play out. I mean, like I said, at the very least, if that's the way it's playing out, especially, I do see that growth cycle, going from the Knight of Swords to the Ten of Swords and then to the Lovers, which is the major arcana version of the Gemini energy versus the core card version. So, and then, especially if you guys are dealing with a Gemini, check out their reading too, because their reading was about fairness and understanding. So I don't remember the exact context of that one right now, but obviously that sounds like a similar theme in that regard. So maybe you guys are just gonna have to get things back on track. But yeah, hopefully this resonated with you in some way, because like I said, it did feel a bit weird, but hopefully it did. And I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.